Just a questions. Those participants online, can you guys hear me? ¿Usted me puede escuchar? Sí,
Yes,
claro.
yes, Shernon.
Sí, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Shernon.
Can you also say something that we can hear that the voice is okay?
Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
Who was that? Max.
Max.
Sounds like Mad Max, okay. Okay. Joel is there as well? Okay, shall we start? Okay, good morning to all. My name is Shernon Osepa. I'm the Manager Regional Affairs for Latin America and the Caribbean at Internet Society. And we're going to have a so-called ISOC Virtual Town Hall on cybersecurity. We have just listened to a panel, and they did focus a lot on a lot of kind of cybersecurity challenges. But we believe it's very important that we can hear from others, and especially from other chapters in the region, in this particular case in the Caribbean, to share with them their views as well. It's very important for us to know what is going on in Barbados, because this is a national IGF, but it's also great to hear from others that we are working with. So we have 4 panelists. We have one person from Barbados, and he's just sitting next to me here, David Gittens. We have one person from Trinidad and Tobago, Joel Mitchell. One person from the Dominican Republic, Cesar Moline. And we have one person from Haiti as well, Max Larson. So all of them, I do have their bios, but in order for us to get some more time to discuss with them and also with you, I can assure you all, we are talking here about professionals. Let me just mention, for example, Cesar Moline Rodriguez from Dominican Republic. He holds a law degree from the Universidad Iberoamericana, that's in and he has a master's degree. And he's working now for Indotel, that's a regulator in the Dominican Republic. And he is also a member of the chapter in the Dominican Republic. We have Joel Mitchell. He is also a professional on security with multiple, let's say, certifications and degrees. David Gittens, I mean, if I just look behind his name, he has so many titles that I cannot mention all of them. But I can assure you we are talking here about a professional. And we have Max Larson from Haiti. And he has a ICT company as well. And he has also been engaged within the Latin American and Caribbean community. So we're talking about professionals. I think it's very important because nowadays we are talking about cybersecurity. And of course, there is the link with the internet. But it's very important for us to define what is meant with, let's say, not only cybersecurity, but let's start first with the internet. Because if you ask people nowadays what is the internet, most people would answer things such as, that's Facebook, right? Or Twitter. But the internet goes beyond these applications. And most of these presentations that we have seen during, let's say, today and yesterday, they have been focusing on applications. But when we are talking or when we are addressing cybersecurity challenges, we need to look beyond applications. And for example, let me just give you an example. If it's very important for us to understand, for example, what we call the 3 internet operational layers. First of all, we need to have what we call a telecommunication infrastructure. It sounds very straightforward, but sometimes that's not that clear. So once we have a telecommunication infrastructure in place, then we go to the next level, where we have, let's say, all all the protocols based on TCP, where we have that the technical infrastructure of the internet functions. And once we have this particular part, let's say, operational, then it is that we go to the highest level, where normally we as human beings, let's say, interact with the internet. So here we find all the Facebook, the Twitter, the Google, and so on and so on. And cybersecurity themes, that's very, very broad. Most of the times we are focusing only on a few. For example, on applications or on data. But there are more areas as well. And I think later on I'll give a summary and regarding all those. So let me start with our panelists, and to take advantage, given that they're here with us. So I will start first with my friend sitting next to me here, David Gittens. And I would like to get a better understanding. We have heard, for example, a few definitions of cybersecurity, so we're not going to focus much on that. I think by now it's clear what is meant with cybersecurity. But what are the concrete, let's say, threats that you're seeing? Before I pose that question, basically what we're trying to achieve with this session, we would like to achieve a few concrete actions. The first of all, we would like to define what is cybersecurity, what are the threats out there. We would like to focus a bit how we can solve the challenges, because if we talk about them and if we cannot solve them, it's worthless, basically. And finally, we would like to focus a bit on all the players that can help us solve the problems that we are facing. So I think if we can focus on these four areas, then we can have a good point of departure to address, let's say, cybersecurity challenges that we are facing in the region. So let me go back now to David, and I would like to ask him to elaborate a bit on specifically the challenges that he's seeing here in Barbados. And the other panelists, be prepared, because I'm going to ask you guys the same thing as well. Thank you.
Morning, all. In Barbados, one of the things that we have in our favor is we have a very good telecoms infrastructure, and we have very high internet penetration. It isn't uncommon to see a lot of people with 2 or 3 devices, even primary school children, and they're on Facebook and all sorts of things, even though legally they're too young to be. But there's a lot of penetration in terms of using the internet in Barbados. As a result of that, the same sort of threats that I see internationally, that I see happening in Europe, in North America, I'm seeing the same things in Barbados. We're getting a lot of phishing. I guess most people would understand that because it is so common now. Phishing emails is very common. We're seeing things like ransomware. We're seeing denial of service attacks. We're seeing like identity theft, someone pretending to be you and trying to take your money. We're seeing wire fraud. And a lot of it is serious, as some of the panelists said in the previous discussion. There's no requirement, legal requirement, to actually report this. So what we're seeing is probably just the tip of the iceberg. So if I'm seeing a bit of ransomware, chances are there's a lot. If I'm seeing some like internet defacement, chances are it's a lot more that's actually going on. But I'm seeing basically the same sort of threats and attacks that I'm seeing globally. I'm seeing the same things in Barbados.
Okay. Thank you very much, David. So we would like to go now to Trinidad and Tobago. So I would like to ask Joel, please share with us what are the main threats that you are seeing there in Trinidad and Tobago.
You hear me, right? You all hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, great. More or less just like what David is saying, we are seeing the same global threats in Trinidad and Tobago. And just like what he was saying, the scary thing is that everybody has a device, has a network device that is basically running on the internet. And one thing that I have noticed personally in Trinidad and Tobago is that a lot of the youths, they tend to download a lot of applications without understanding and not knowing what the implications are. So they get them from trusted sources, they get them from unknown sources. So we have a lot of things that are hidden on devices locally, in addition to the known threats. So, I mean, from my point of view, it it basically makes it a playing field where you're not sure where exactly to start mitigating from, because the amount of loopholes that it have is so vast. And then locally, I'm not sure if we have any legislations. I don't think we have any legislations legally to mitigate and to say, well, this person did X, we can prosecute them in this particular way. So, I mean, the threat is real, the situations are real, right? So more or less, same stuff, global village, right? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joel. Let's go now to Dominican Republic. Cesar, can you share with us the threats that you're seeing in the Dominican Republic, please?
Yes, of course. First of all, good morning, Shernon, and good morning to all my Bajan friends over there in Barbados. What we're seeing here in the Dominican Republic is rather interesting. For the past few years, I do have to agree with what David said and a lot with what Joel said previously. A lot of the tendencies that we see worldwide, we see here on more or less the same scale. We have what we've been having is a lot of data breaches concerning either personal data or financial information. We've seen a lot of content-related offenses, especially pertaining to either intellectual property theft or to child pornography. Those have been two major issues last year and have more or less increased also in this year as well. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. after the commercial break. So yes, and that's more or less what we're seeing right now. Regarding unauthorized access or sabotage of systems, we've had a couple of cases, but I wouldn't say that it's a mainstream issue right now. I think David put it really, really well earlier when he said that, there is a lot of phishing because, of course, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of interest there for cyber criminals.
Thank you very much, Cesar.
Yes.
So we are going now with Max Larson from Haiti. Question, please share with us the threats that you are seeing in Haiti.
First of all, thank you, Shernon, ISOC, and the organizer for having me for this opportunity. So what I can see is that what we are seeing in Haiti right now is not that different from what I heard this morning from colleagues from the Caribbean and elsewhere in the world. So in Haiti, because of the development of infrastructure recently with and fiber to the home services, so it has resulted in a greater development of internet in the country. So unfortunately, that comes with the dark side of the digital progress that we have seen. A lot of phishing, ransomware, scams, mostly scam relating to visa, like people receiving offers to go to a conference in the States in exchange of paying a fee for the registration and doing transfer using MoneyGram or other transfer service, and then losing their money. We do see a lot of denial of service attack as well, and also sexual predators targeting children. So that's the challenge that we are facing. And regarding the legal framework, I must say that there have been some efforts working with IPCA to draft some bills that have yet to be passed at the parliament level.
Okay, thank you very much, Max. Merci beaucoup. So I would like to focus now a bit on the Internet of Things. Given that while we are promoting, let's say, connectivity, more access to connect more devices to the internet, I don't want to say that we're creating another problem, but we are seeing another challenge, especially with the Internet of Things. Given all these devices, let's say, connected to the internet. So what are you guys seeing in this regard with the Internet of Things? Or how can we protect, let's say, the internet, let's say, infrastructure, once we have all these devices connected to the internet, to avoid, for example, massive, let's say, denial of service attacks? So what can you suggest us in that regard? So I would like to start with David again.
All right. The issue we have in Barbados is that it's very easy for us to get access to technology. It's expensive, but we don't mind paying the extra money. We go onto Amazon and we buy the latest device. Doesn't matter what it is. And I don't think the government even can monitor the sort of devices that we get in there. We see the ads on the cable TV. We go on the internet and we just buy them. So we have several devices around here. The problem is a lot of the devices we bring in from North America, where they might have certain regulations and laws in place to help, we don't have that sort of protection. So we just bring in the device, you turn it on, accept the default settings, connect to the internet, and you go away. And that I see as a problem that's going to get worse and worse because it's a matter of having devices but not properly monitoring or managing them. For example, the Chinese government, they were good enough to give us a donation of 12,000 devices for our schools recently. That is very good, but that's 12,000 devices connected to the internet, most in the hands of children, right? So what we need is, and they would have started to do this a lot yesterday, legislation, but also regulations and policies. It's not enough to be able to turn on a device. You must know, the user must know the risk, how to use it. They must use it within some sort of policy framework, what I can do, when I can do, and then there's some monitoring to make sure that they're doing what they're doing, right? So that's the problem I see. We do not have the infrastructure in terms of the regulations, laws, and the actual policies, and the overall awareness. People just turn on the device and they go.
Just wait with your recommendations because we will come at that as well. I didn't mention it, but whenever we connect a given, let's say, device to the internet, it becomes, let's say, part of that global internet. So it's not you in your environment, but this particular device will become part of that global internet. So that is why it's quite important for us to know what we are connected to the internet. And this does also mean that once we have all these devices connected to the internet, they can also become like a threat for others, let's say, to use, let's say, these devices to hack into our systems. So I would like to ask the same question with respect to IoT to our next panelist, Joel from Trinidad. So what are your view with respect to that aspect?
Hi, morning again. Just like what David was saying and what you, Mr. Moderator, is saying, it's very, very, very easy to gain devices. In my view, we have a wide price range of devices here. So depending on what you're looking for, it may not be that expensive to get a high-end or a device with a lot of features to connect to the internet. So we have a lot of people, a lot of young people, and a lot of citizens in general connecting to the internet, and a lot of people tend to download a lot of stuff and a lot of apps from various sources, as I was saying before, and some of these sources are credible and some of these sources are a bit questionable, because not everybody would go to the App Store and download regulated software. So as David was saying, we need to have regulations and we need to have policies in place, and we need to have a lot of training and awareness, because the internet is growing and the amount of devices that connect, because the average person in Trinidad and Tobago has two devices, at least two devices that connect to the internet simultaneously. So with that being said, the threat is there, and the surface area is increasing for places for us to be vulnerable and attacked, because with each device has its own vulnerabilities, and the common underlying operating systems has its own vulnerabilities built in. So we really, reach a point where we need to start doing some kind of regulation, and we need to start awareness and training. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joel. Cesar, the same question with respect to IoT, Internet of Things.
Well, regarding the security or safety of IoT devices, here as well as the last two panelists, there's also a proliferation of devices. That it's you can't hide this. This is the way things are, and this is the way that people acquire technology nowadays. Concerning what we as a government we've been doing, as Shernon mentioned, I do work for our telecoms regulator. That gives us has given us certain leverage to not only try with our national laws and policies do state that people that import such devices must register them here at Indotel. Now, one thing is that a lot of devices do go unreported. This is a reality that we must face every day. So what we found is that we recently started developing policy for safeguarding these devices and the network as well. One of the very incredible initiative that we found is the Cyber Green initiative that was developed by the government of Japan. It's funded by the government of Japan, and basically the Cyber Green initiative is it's basically a health check for your network and for your country. Basically, there you can gather information about what systems you have online, what systems represent a threat for you as a country and for other countries as well. For example, there you have indicators that go to how many unsecured devices you have on your network. You can also look up if, for example, you remember the Mirai botnet, which was going through the rounds a couple of months ago. You have an index specifically that targets Mirai infected devices as well, and also devices that can be used for DOS or for DDoS as well. So I think that as a country, that input has actually helped us put in place, or at least start developing policy to put in place to tackle this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cesar. Max Larson, what are your views with respect to IoT?
Yeah, so the problem here is not that much one single IoT device. Is a lot of devices out there with vulnerability that offers plenty of as-a-service attack capabilities. And those devices are everywhere in every country, in every continent. And that means we need to put in place collective response, having collective responsibility. And it will be the responsibility for standardization organization, government, public sector institution, private sector institution, vendors, and also network operators to make sure that we respond, and we respond well to those kind of threats. So the internet is accessible, and that is a good thing. The internet is flourishing because it is permission free, and the internet has a global reach. Unfortunately, those good things with it, internet could be used by the attackers, to because the internet is accessible, so it is easy for someone to buy a device and turn it on and put it on the network, and then if there is a vulnerability, a group of hackers take control of it, and the next things it is part on a bot that can be used to launch denial of service attack from country to country. So the response has to be global, and it has to be a multi-stakeholder, a cross-border collaboration between various entities and various institutions. And also it is very important to someone has talk about raising awareness and education, to use academic institutions, and to make sure that the end user know well about the implication of buying a device on Amazon or elsewhere, and just turn it on without any precaution. So the response has to be global, and it is a collective responsibility for all of us using the internet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Max. David, you had a small comment?
Yes, I wanted to let everyone know that apart from ourselves and the ISOC members in Trinidad, Dominican Republic, and Haiti, there are also other ISOC chapters who are listening to the call, and some of them with students in their classroom, and the students were particularly interested in understanding matters of ethics as it relates to cybersecurity issues. So I wanted to raise that on their behalf.
Yes, but we didn't open the floor as yet for question. So I'll come to that. Just hold that for a while. Let me just finish this, and then we will do that. So as the moderator, I have the power to do this. Okay? Okay. I'm not a dictator, so don't worry about that. So I would like to focus now a bit on what we call the cybersecurity themes. We are talking about cybersecurity, but generally speaking, there are 8 areas, main areas, let's say, that cover, let's say, all cybersecurity challenges. And I'm going to mention them. We don't have much time to go in depth, but I just would like to mention them, because if we are considering to develop, let's say, a national cybersecurity plan, it's quite important if we can incorporate all these topics into that plan. So the first one would be what we call to secure the link. As you may know, the internet was developed without any security mechanism embedded into it. So it's very important for us to secure the link. It's very important for us to secure the telecommunication infrastructure, because without telecommunication infrastructure, be it wired, wireless, satellite communication, or whatever, we cannot have internet connectivity. Those of you who know, I like, when I'm here in Barbados, I like to walk, let's say, around the racetrack, and I've noticed something there. I know I'm tall, but I could just touch a lot of telecommunications infrastructure. So while we're talking about protecting data and all these kind of things, if people can just have access to your telecommunication infrastructure in such an easy way, then we do have a challenge as well. So that is why securing the telecommunication infrastructure should be part of the wider cybersecurity plan as well. We need to secure the internet itself. And when we talk about the internet, I'm not talking about Google, Facebook, Twitter, and those kind of applications. I'm talking about security the domain name system as well. And I think Albert did mention DNSSEC, for example. But in addition to the names, we need to secure also the routes that are being used within the internet. We need to secure, let's say, the computers. We need to secure applications. We have been focusing a lot on this. We need to secure data. We need to secure identity, and we need to secure essential services. So if we would like to draft like national cybersecurity strategy, then I think these are the areas that we can focus a bit on. So now I would like to, we only have a few more minutes left, but I will ask, we will answer that question, David, don't worry about that. I would like to ask, let's say, the panelists to give us, in your view, who are, let's say, the players, all the players that can help us to solve, let's say, the problems that we are facing within this arena. So I would like to know who are the players. Let's start first with and please just 1 or 30 seconds, because still we like to take the question from the floor. So David, please.
In terms of the players, the Barbados government over the years has partnered with various local, international, and regional organizations which are helping in terms of things like capacity building and training. We have people like Commonwealth, the OAS, the ITU, the CTU. Locally, we have the ISSA, Information System Security Association. And there are some other organizations that do a bit of work as well. So in terms of the main players who work with government, I think these are the primary ones in Barbados' case.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, David. Joel, who do you think are all the players that we should be working with to address, let's say, cybersecurity challenges? 30 seconds. Did you hear my question, Joel?
Under the private studies that players, right? Hello, you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, go ahead.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that under the, in addition to like the major players, you have a lot of local
Was hacked, right? Joel, you still there? Okay, so let's move on with Cesar, and then maybe come back to Joel, because I think there's a challenge with
private
Joel.
sector companies that in terms of
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Cesar, yes, go ahead, yes.
Yeah, so Shernon, regarding the major players. Okay, so for the Dominican Republic, for a long time, we had a lot of people offering things, ITU, OAS, Council of Bureaus as well, IDB, and so forth and so on. The problem is that we, depending on which institution took charge of the project, usually there would be conflicting issues, or it would be doing work which was already done. So basically, when we drafted our national policy this year, one of the main issues that we found is who do we want to collaborate with and in what terms. So for matters pertaining to cybersecurity, basically we handle most of those issues with the OAS. OAS is our strategic partner in everything that has to do with cybersecurity. Now, pertaining to matters relating to cybercrime, since 2012, the Dominican Republic is part of the Budapest Convention. And on November last year, we started what is called the GLACY Plus project, which is the Global Action Against Cybercrime project extended. And basically what this project hopes to amount is basically more or less capacity building for judges, prosecutors, and public defendants in matters of cybercrime and electronic evidence. Now, this project, we're hoping at the end of this project to become a hub country for training also other countries here in the region.
Cesar, Max, 30 seconds, please. Who are the players, actors?
I'm sorry, didn't you just hear me? I was speaking, no?
Oh, you didn't finish? I'm sorry.
No, I finished, yes, I did.
Oh, okay, so that's why I told you thank you very much. And we will be asking Max to to comment on that. Max? Max, are you there? Okay, so I think we have a challenge with this system, and this is a good example how systems can be hacked, right? So, David, please ask the question that you had for, yes. And then we will wrap up.
Okay, so the question had to do specifically with students wanting to know about issues of ethics and integrity as they relate to cybersecurity, and how I guess possibly how we can incorporate the sort of like teaching of ethics and ethical standards into how into the teaching of cybersecurity, so that we have fewer unscrupulous people possibly looking to commit these cybercrime type acts.
Okay, thank you very much, David Smith. David Gittens, you would like to maybe comment on that?
All right. The cyber world is basically a reflection of the physical world. If it's wrong in the physical world, you can expect that it's wrong in the cyber world. If it's wrong to bully people physically, it's wrong to bully them there. If it's wrong to use obscene or language in the physical world, do the same with the cyber world. If stealing is wrong, physically, stealing is wrong by the internet. Basically, the ethics you follow are the normal ethics for human beings. The internet society has certain values in terms of using the internet, and those are the sort of values that we would want to promote for people in the cyber world.
Thank you very much, David. We don't have more time left. So I would like to thank all the panelists, David, Joel, Cesar, Max, and also those of you watching online. Thank you very much, and thanks for giving contribution with respect to this national IGF in Barbados. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can go for a break.